Hi, Ameet. Welcome back, everyone, to the Paid Search Girls podcast, Paid Search Gals podcast. Ameet and I have been working in paid search for 30 years combined. We've managed millions and millions of dollars of ad spend. I think if we added it all up, we'd have no idea at this point. It's that many millions. And we also got invited to a Google News announcement. And so we want to make some content here around the new information we got. We will link to the blog post below and talk about some things that we would really all be excited about that are finally here. I would say, how long has it been around? 5 years now? 4 years?
I thought it was like 3.
3 years.
3, 2.
2. Geez, time flies. But it's all coming to PMAX. So today we're going to talk about it because they made a lot of announcements and we were, like I said, very privy to them. A lot of them have to do with really enhanced visibility in Performance Max, which we've all been dying for. And so, I mean, really, when I look at this announcement, Google is giving us significant improvements. They are to the reporting. I think that is absolutely huge. I think anytime we're given information, we as advertisers learn how to manipulate that information and either pull back spend or increase spend. Now, with all of it, you and I can talk in here about what we're going to be getting, but we can also talk about what we will not be getting. And I probably have an interesting take on this. I probably would say that I don't care what we're not getting, because beggars can't be choosers, and what we are getting, I feel like, is so good that at least that will make a difference for advertisers. But we can talk about it.
Yeah, I think for me, it was just kind of nice to see, like, for so long, we've been sitting around going, oh, Google doesn't listen, Google doesn't listen, Google doesn't listen. And the getting to be on this call was kind of really cool because it was this moment of just getting confirmation from them where they said, we take notes, we hear it. Sometimes things take a little while to get done because obviously they're a massive company. And I think that's something that we kind of have a tendency to forget. I know that I do for sure, is that sometimes I'm like, well, why can't you just change it? Like, it's so easy, just change it. But like, we actually have to understand that this is a massive platform that they're making changes to. It's going to maybe take a year or two. So it's just kind of really cool to be able to see the things that we've been asking for are finally kind of starting to come our way. Because I think that'll build a little bit more trust, especially with Performance Max. Because I think Google's lost a lot of trust from advertisers because of the way that they had presented it. And now, with all of the increased visibility that we're going to be able to get, I think that's going to help kind of bridge that gap a little bit better for advertisers and Google now.
Yeah, I would agree. So, obviously one of the things when they're saying we're getting more information, it's going to be this new channel report in Performance Max. And we're going to have a campaign level summary, is what they're saying, across search, YouTube, discovery, Gmail, display, search partners, and maps. I think I got them all, did I?
Did you say shopping?
That's everything. Yeah, shopping. I probably didn't say search, YouTube, discovery, Gmail, display, search, maps, and shopping.
There's just so many now. It's just hard to remember
all those. But this basically is going to allow us as marketers and advertisers to see which channels are the ones that are engaging customers and contributing to the goals. Now, I think the biggest thing there is we're not going to be able to take ourselves out. We're not going to be able to control goals at the channel level. We're not going to be able to say, oh, we don't want that maps. I think those things are key. However, I think just the ability to read is really, really awesome, because as sort of coming into our evolution as strategists and not lever pullers, a strategist should be able to say, oh, wait, we increased spend over here on Amazon, or we did a PR press release, or we did a TV ad, and now all of a sudden XYZ is going up. And be able to make those correlations, I think it puts us in a role a little bit more as marketers, and knowing what else is going on with our brand and in the marketing ecosystem, and then being able to tie that back to what's happening in our Google campaigns. So I'm okay with it. I know on the call, there's always pushback. It's like, you're giving us this information, but we can't control it. We can't set a ROAS goal at these levels. We can't turn it off. Okay, but you can use what you know about how Google's automation is leaning into XYZ based on the other things you're doing to feed what you're doing in other media. That's my take on it.
Really fair.
What else did it say? It did, I believe they said we're going to be able to drill down, right, and identify areas for improvement. So they said something like placement reports for display on YouTube. I find that one interesting because they're saying we can have data, but can you take yourself off of certain YouTube channels? If I look at my Performance Max and I see a placement report and it's all kids channels, am I going to be able to do anything about that? Yes or no? I would assume absolutely not, but I would also assume Google wouldn't want to show me that they're placing me all over kids channels. What's your thought on that?
I feel like they did say, I remember Ginny saying something along those lines, but I
Okay.
don't want to be quoted on that one because it's a feel. It's not a very, like, I don't remember exactly, but I feel like somebody had asked that question. I just don't remember who it was.
Well, we are leaving this all in, and Google will never invite us back to their embargoed information. Those girls
They're like, you
didn't
guys aren't
catch
even
it.
listening, man. What are you doing?
Exactly.
But yeah, no, I like the channel reporting side of things. I think like having that campaign level summary is going to be really cool. I think having the placement reports is going
Yeah.
to be great. There's going to be visualization. So we saw that on
Yes.
LinkedIn,
Yes.
whoever leaked those images. Honestly, I don't know. I mean, I get it for the clout, but like at the same time, like now you've been basically banned. So like,
Yeah, that's true. Right.
was
I
it worth
completely
it?
agree.
I don't think so, especially when those weren't even the final screenshots. It's just kind of funny to me. But then also having that format level breakdown, I think it's going to be kind of cool just to be able to
I
see what's
agree. I
happening on
totally agree.
shopping, search, that whole stuff, and be able to do that comparison. I think I mean, even if we're not able to make a lot of changes, I think being able to see what's happening will help us kind of just dictate how we need to go, right? So, like, if
Yeah.
we're just noticing that maybe shopping isn't actually working the way that we thought it was because we didn't have that visibility before, maybe we start like removing products from the feed and realize that search is the one that's driving everything. Like that'll actually help us like reallocate the budget, even though we're not able to, I guess, physically do it. So I think that'll be really, really cool. They did say that the beta enrollment for this will be in a couple weeks, I think right in March, like GML, May 21 or after May 21, something like that. So the people will be able to kind of join that beta if they really, really want to check it out. But it's not going to be rolled out anytime soon. It's just something that's coming down the pipeline. Obviously, the search reporting side of things is still coming through. So we're going to be able to see search terms from PMAX, which I think is like pretty freaking huge. You'll be able to add negatives from the report directly, like we have been able to in search, which also I think is freaking amazing. And then in the columns as well, you'll be able to tell what's search, what's shopping, what's PMAX as well. So you can make that differentiation as well. So I think for me, out of all of the things that they're giving us, I think that's the one that I'm the most excited about. Cause like, it's always just been like, what are we actually showing up for? What keywords are we actually truly targeting?
Correct.
Those have always been those questions of like, what's reality. So I think being able to see that on the search side, because I mean, I'm a search girl, I think will be really, really cool. I'm very excited about that one. That one was like a pretty great move. And then they also did do that increase a couple weeks, months, possibly a month, possibly 2 months, where they went from 100 negatives to I think it's 10,000 now. So I think that'll also help us rein in some of that wasted spend or that suspected wasted spend. So yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to that, especially from like a brand, what's the word that I'm looking for? Like a brand safety standpoint. Like now we'll actually have a little bit more control on like what we're actually showing up for, because that's always constantly like a big thing. It's just like, what are we actually showing up for? Like what is our brand being shown up for? So now it's just going to be able to give us a little bit more control on that front. So I think a lot of brands who are very much like very concerned about their visibility and their own brand safety, I think this is going to help them quite a bit. Not even
Yeah.
I think, we know it's going to
Yeah.
help them quite a bit.
No, I agree. I think having worked in healthcare on major healthcare brands, this is something that they're going to enjoy. But just to play devil's advocate, so one thing that I think about with all this, I spent so much time training my clients on Performance Max. Like, you cannot touch it. It is what it is. This is the risks. These are the pros. These are the cons. This is why we're going to run it. Blah, blah, blah. And now I think to be able to get the control to put in negatives or to take your brand out of it, I'm like, oh man, I spent so much time coaching them that you couldn't do that. So there's a part of me that's like, I hate to go back in time. And then also, like, I believed, and maybe it was me just like gaslighting myself because I didn't have control and I was using Performance Max. I really did believe from the bottom of my heart that Performance Max was meant to operate in that lack of control environment. And so having the controls now, I'm like, I almost feel like I'd be very hesitant to use them because I've spent the years thinking like, this is a cutting edge campaign type that is meant to operate with this fluidity that we're now adding negatives to. I don't know. Back in the day, I would have added my brand as a negative. Now I'm like, that's how people search. And then I also, sorry, I'm probably going off on a bit of a tangent on this one because so I think about like a brand search that shows, because like, pretend you are a major retail brand, which is going to be the bulk of Performance Max because of that shopping component. So you're a major retailer, you sell everywhere. If you search your brand name in that product feed, it can be your brand name with multiple different stores that also sell your brand that have their feeds showing up. It could be your distributor, I guess you would call that your distributors, but then also your competitors will show up under your brand name and vice versa. And so I got used to kind of thinking about search differently and brand differently within the context of that product feed being up top. And so I guess I, again, sort of accepted that. And you could also be shown in the product feed and the search ad below it. There's just, I don't know, man.
Yeah, but my counter argument is you could just have a branded campaign in search.
And I always did. I would run a brand campaign and I would run a PMAX campaign, and I would allow and accept the fact that my brand campaign was no longer pure, because a lot of times what would happen is they would want to know, well, did branded search go up, like in search volume? Because for me, working with larger clients, the clients really wanted to know, was their marketing working? Were people coming back and searching brand? Did they see a growth in the brand searches? And I said, now that we've rolled out Performance Max, I'm sorry, but I can't answer that, because Performance Max is absorbing a lot of your brand traffic. So your brand traffic doesn't look like it's growing if we're just looking at the measurement of your brand traffic using your own brand campaign. Now, I could go back to Google and ask Google to pull reports, and I can pull stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, I couldn't use brand as a barometer like I used to after Performance Max was rolled out.
Yeah, so then isn't having the exclusions kind of the better scenario, so that way we can measure that now?
I spent 3 years training my clients and my own brain that this was working this way because it was supposed to. And so I was one of the very few when Nava, like, how many people are going to be putting negatives in Performance Max? I think like it was something like 85% were like me. And I'm like, no, I didn't. Like, I would probably be reluctant to do it because I would feel like I was breaking the product.
For me, I don't see it that way. I think the one thing that I've maintained for a really, really long time is being the girl who keeps on saying, yeah, AI is amazing, but humans need to be watching over it. And this is just another example of that. Like, we let PMAX run wild for however many years it's been around now at this point. We've seen what it can do, but what I think that Google's now allowing us is to really unlock it like completely. AI obviously is there for the efficiency and being able to spot those patterns better than we can, but like we're the ones who are going to be able to see that whole story much clearer, better than the AI is going to be able to see it. So for me, I'm sitting there going, okay, well, if now I'm getting metrics like impressions, clicks, cost, and conversions, which is also coming up with that new update, I'm going to be able to make better decisions. Now we're going to be able to see where PMAX has been allocating all the money. Has it actually been driving for only conversions, or has it been just kind of like floating around and been like, okay, well, because you don't have to see what's under the hood, I don't have to show you, so I can do whatever I want. And now we're going to be able to kind of confirm that a little bit better. But now kind of the thing that I had said before, if we're noticing that shopping's not really working very well, then we can just kind of start taking products off that shopping feed. And hopefully some of that money will allocate itself to like something better, and that'll give us a little bit more controls. I do understand the hesitance and being like, okay, I've got it fine-tuned. This is how it's working. Wonderful, great. I don't want to mess with it, and I totally understand that. But like the whole purpose of AI is for it to identify the pattern. So if I give it an abrupt ending in one side, it needs to go find the pattern somewhere else, and I'm just redirecting it in my mind. So for me, I think, honestly, for me and my team, I'm going to encourage them quite a bit to make those changes. Obviously not all at once, obviously incrementally, like very much like anything else that I do, small steps before I actually take that full on leap. But 100% on my end, I'm camp make the changes. Go for it. Run for the wind. Let's see what happens. Because the worst thing that happens is that it breaks a little bit. Then we just turn it off.
Yeah.
We add those products in.
My hesitance absolutely perfectly. And it just sort of gave me deja vu and reminded me that I do tell my clients all the time when I'm working with them, I'm like, I am a very conservative account manager. I am not the account manager that makes a lot of changes. Now, that being said, if I were onboarding a brand new client who had never run Google Ads before, I would start using these exceptions from the get-go based on this data that Google was giving me. I would basically build it in a, Performance Max / old school way, embedding those negatives that I didn't want from the get-go and a brand, and keep that a pure brand. But no, I mean, you're exactly right. They're giving us the metrics. That is what they've announced. They're giving us, to your point, down to the impressions, costs, keywords. I mean, they're negative
Conversions, yeah.
the ability. And then I think that other layer there that we probably didn't talk about, but I think it is really important, is the asset level reporting as well, right? So the impressions, clicks, performance, and it gives us the ability to look at ad strength and our assets from, a little bit more granular of a position.
And they're also giving us diagnostics for each channel as well,
Yes.
which is another thing, which is going to be really, really cool. So like I wrote a couple of examples over here. So there's one example, if you're not serving on maps, you may be missing store locations, and it'll be able to identify that for you. Search limitations might be due to irrelevant landing pages, and then the suggestion might be turn on final URL expansion. So we're getting like, they're not auto applied, but we're getting the R's in a sense, or just the R, I guess, R's recommendations on the channel level as well, which I think will be kind of cool, just to sit there and look at it and be, take it with a grain of salt, very much like anything else when we get suggestions. Is, does this make sense for my client? Does it make sense for my account? Yes, the AI has identified this as a problem, but is it actually a problem? Those are the things that I kind of want everybody thinking about when they're looking at those diagnostics. And this is the same thing with AARs, right? Like, we want you to sit there and think about it, not just go, yeah, apply. Go for it. Go nuts. We don't want that. We want you guys to sit there and think about these things and be like, does this actually make sense for my business or my client or whatever else? And then kind of just keep on moving forward from there. Yeah, I think I don't know. It's just kind of cool to me that this is finally happening. This is just really cool to me that it's finally happening. But there are a couple other things that, like, I took notes from the meeting that I don't think are going to be covered in the blog post, or they're not going to be covered in the blog post. Not even, I don't think I've read them. We've read the blog post. So in regards to like search partner controls, those aren't going to be happening in this feature update. Right. It might be something that happens in the future, but right now it's not happening. And I mean, annoying a little bit, but at the same time, like, looking at everything that they're giving us, I'm not bothered by it.
Yeah.
There won't be any historical data, so we won't be able to look backwards, but we'll be looking from that day on forward. So like when we're looking at what the changes are and what things are happening, literally just don't make the changes right off the bat. Let the campaign run for like a week or two, collect your information, and then start making those decisions. Because I know a lot of people are going to see it on day one and they're going to be like, yeah, I'm going to want to do like this exclusion and that over here, and I'm going to change this up. And then suddenly you don't know what was actually like the benchmark, and we want to get those benchmarks in. So I know that I also have this tendency to like kind of run towards like the next coolest thing sometimes. So I just want everyone to manage their expectations a little bit. And I kind of just want to give word to caution there, is just take it a little bit slowly. We don't know what these changes are going to look like. This is new for literally everybody. So yeah, just take it a day at a time. Let the campaigns run for a little bit longer so you can at least collect that data and then go back in and start making those changes. They are not sharing all interactions at this current moment, like in the platform, but essentially in the blog post, when you go look at it, you'll be able to see a couple GIFs in there where you'll be able to like hover over a channel name or a certain metric or something, and it'll actually give you the full insight on explanation on that. And that's not something that's new to Google, but I just think it's kind of cool that they're adding it into the PMAX side of things. And they want to do that just so they can help more novice or new advertisers kind of navigate their way through PMAX, because it can get very, very complicated. And then the last thing that I had in here is that the reporting is expected to be better. It may not initially answer all the questions, but the toggling of the time frames will help you better understand what's happening in PMAX. So then you'll have like a period where you won't have that data, and you'll have a period where you will have that data, and you can still kind of do the comparison. So even though we're not getting historical data back, this is still good, right? Like, the last thing that I want to hear, frankly, is just people getting mad about this. I think this is a really great thing that they're doing. They're wanting to work with us. They're actually listening to us. Yes, it's been years of us screaming about it, but at the same time, like, I think it's time for us to really understand that, like, sometimes with corporations this large, it does take a little while for things to happen. So just because we're not seeing it doesn't mean it's not happening. Obviously, still continue to hold Google accountable, but like, I think that's my biggest realization after that call was like, oh yeah, actually, it's not like it's a 10-person team at Hopskip Media where we could do it tomorrow. You know, it's not, it doesn't work that way. And I, for whatever reason, kind of forgot that. And that call kind of brought me back to that moment of going like, oh yeah, actually, yeah, that makes logical sense. I'm the one who's being slightly unreasonable right now. So yeah, I'm very happy about all of this. I'm looking forward to hearing about everybody else's hesitations and what they're really, really excited about. I want to hear the questions that we might have not been able to ask
Correct.
them. That's what I'm really, really, because I just like, I want to explore this even further. But obviously, I don't know what I don't know, or my mind is only going to go so far. So I'm really excited for this to be opened up to everybody else and just see what everybody else is thinking and what their questions are, and really just kind of get involved in that conversation. I'm very excited for that.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I think it was a great beginning, and I agree. We're not going to listen to the complainers. I think we got a lot in this last round, and yeah, we'll find out too about the ability to exclude on those channels and things like that. Because I do think that's obviously important, just as important as negatives. Being able to sort of whack-a-mole when your display ads and your YouTube ads are showing up on Kids Pop TV or worse.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But yeah, that's it on my end. That's all I kind of wanted to talk about today.
Awesome. Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Like, comment, subscribe, share, and follow along for more.
Bye, guys.
Bye.